I don't know if you saw, we did an interview with Fem Fel, and he was saying that the reason why loads of artists are getting dropped, urban artists are getting dropped, he was blaming it purely on poor A&Ring, and he was saying that he knows A&Rs, he probably knows you, whatnot, he doesn't want to offend them, there's brethren, he goes to mills of them, blah blah blah, but he just thinks that A&R in the UK is not good because they pick up artists when they're like hot and basically just use that to carry on their career kind of thing, instead of like building from the bottom, where if you pick up a pop act or a singer or something, you'd pick them up with one view on YouTube and they have no buzz, nothing, and turn them hot kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? What's your view on that kind of thought process there?
You know what, like, it's interesting, obviously everybody's got their own opinion of why things come up and go down, and everybody wants to be able to kind of analyse and give a reason as to why X, Y, Z thing has happened. And you know what, I'm going to get into the reasons as well, but what I would say in the first instance is that music is like, it goes in cycles, right? And the cycles are less and less controlled by anybody at a record label or even at a radio station. I'm not saying that there's no control, but I'd say that there's a lot of power in the hands of the people right now because of the internet, and because actually as an artist you can put something up online, and if it's good, people will gravitate towards it just naturally. Yeah. And that happens a lot. A lot of artists get deals off the back of that. A lot of artists, I'm not saying urban or pop or dance or anything, I'm just saying generally speaking, a lot of artists get deals because they put something up online and it was just good. Do you get what I'm saying? And the internet is a very honest place. If you put something up online and you're wondering like how comes it's not got views, or you know nobody's really picked up on it, you can try to overanalyze it, but the reality is it's probably just not good enough. And that's just the harsh, cold facts. Now, to go into your point about why a lot of urban artists are getting dropped, like a lot of urban artists got signed, a lot, right? A lot of people had done the groundwork. I think there, you know, there's a handful of people that had really done their groundwork. They deserved the record deal that they got. They done like the underground stuff, and they've been around on the circuit. Probably you could go back to even some people 2004 or before that, right? And you know, they've grown, their music had grown, and everything lined up, so everybody gets their deal, right? When you have a scene and something that is not just straight pop, something that's grown from somewhere, and it sort of transcends that grassroots level and becomes mainstream, right? As a business that record labels are, and as the music business, naturally people are going to try and jump onto that and try to find what the next one is, because they might have missed the first, second, third, fourth horse in this race, so they're trying to find the next one, right? Which means that quite a lot of artists got signed that hadn't necessarily done the appropriate groundwork, right? They didn't have a core fan base, they probably couldn't even sell a show, right? But they might have had a tune, or they might have done an SB freestyle or whatever freestyle online, and I saw quite a lot of artists honestly get signed because they'd done a good freestyle, or they had a good track. And I think a lot of labels were basing decisions on the other artists that had success who possibly had done more groundwork. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. Right. So, but when you get a deal like that, if you don't have a hit, right? Even if you have a hit, like it can be very here today and gone tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? It can be very like, if you don't keep following it up and keep sort of like throwing coals on that fire, you're not going to be able to have anybody catch you when you fall down in terms of a fan base. Do you get what I'm saying? And there's quite a lot of artists that maybe have never had a massive hit, right? But they've just kept on the level because they've just had a consistent fan base. Do you get what I'm saying? And they've just kept doing their thing, and they've been able to do their shows and make their money by putting out 1 or 2 releases a year and sort of just maintaining. I think that to go back to Fem's point about bad A&R, like not everybody gets it right all of the time as well. That's another thing. And the market that you're aiming at, when you compare it to 2009 or 10 or even 11 when it was booming because there was all this radio support, naturally, as I said, things kind of swayed. The radio stops playing it and everything just comes back down to the core fan base again, right? Because that mainstream fan base, right, they're not loyal. They're not loyal. The same people that was at a Chipmunk concert, or a Tinchy concert, like 4 years ago, they're now at probably like a Second City or a Rudimental or Route 94 Disclosure show. Now I'm not saying that those artists haven't done groundwork, but I'm saying that they are now what's mainstream, right? And that's the flavour of the month. And there's always a certain percentage of fans that are gonna be jumping for whatever the flavour of the month is. That's just how it is, you know. In the same breath, there's always gonna be a core for the people that have done their groundwork properly too. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. So
would you say that a large reason is that from that you saying that I kind of took that the mainstream fans, there's way more mainstream fans than urban fans in general
than any specialist genre.
And that's kind of the reason why artists get dropped, because obviously urban music becomes less popular.
Well, I think to talk about the specifics of why artists get dropped, and I think again it's all relative, but you gotta understand that it's business. Do you get what I'm saying? If a man invests money into you, they want to know when they're getting their money back, right? And I think that it's quite harsh, the reality of the business, because it's not always merited on your talent or how good you are or how culturally relevant that you are. Like, I would like to think that I stand up and fight for those things. Of course I want to sell records. That's my job. I get paid to sign acts and back acts that are going to make money. But I also feel like I want to sign acts that mean something, that stand for something, and I will stand up and have that debate, right, with the powers that be. But it's not my label. Do you get what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, a lot of A&Rs are working in a label, and they work for people that need to make money and they need to turn over money. And you know, it's, if you look at the way that record deals are structured, especially at a time when the scene was at its peak, people was getting a lot of money, man. People was getting a lot of money based off
other people's success.
Other people's success, exactly. So you know, if you've signed $100 grand deal and you put your record out and it doesn't do well, and in that original contract that you signed, your next option pickup was like 150. So you've not sold. I've already gave you 100 grand. Now I might believe in you, you know. I might think that you're talented. I might think that you've got what it takes to do another record or whatever. But then I've got to convince somebody to give you the best part of £250,000 without spending any money on marketing. When you add in the marketing, the videos, the promo costs, like it's a lot, you know. And when you factor in that record sales are in decline, like iTunes declined this year, like for the first time in like 9 years, right? And physical sales have been declining because more people are going and starting to stream their records, whether it be via Spotify or whatever it might be. People are listening to music in other ways, you know, and they're finding their music in other ways. So it's not as black and white as like, oh, it's just about bad A&R, or it's about people not caring about the urban scene. Like, and I can't speak for everybody, but I've sat here and I've been in this position. You know, so there's a little bit more that goes on, I think, behind the scenes. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's just business. You know?